Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another wonderful episode of Beyond the Bottom Line, the podcast that sits down with all sorts of wonderful people in the nonprofit space, leaders, directors, executive directors, development directors, volunteers, people who work in the organization behind the scenes, who don't always get the time of day to share their stories and the airtime they deserve. So, you know what we did? We created a TV show and gave you the airtime you need to be able to share your story to the world, tell people more about the wonderful impact you're having on everybody that you work with and in the organizations that you're involved in. So this is Beyond the Bottom Line. My name is Sean Littman. I am the host of this wonderful show. And today we're sitting down with a fantastic guest. Her name is Cheryl Lott. Cheryl decided to come on our show to talk about the organization that she's a part of. She works in a school, and she's going to talk more about that and give us more insight. And I can tell that she's super excited that school's almost over because it is hitting the summer. And I can tell that she's super excited that school's almost over. So we're going to sit down and have a candid conversation with Cheryl today, get more insight on the wonderful impact that she and the rest of her staff are having within the organization and the kids that they serve. And we're going to dive in right now. So without further ado, nobody cares about me. Let's talk about you. Cheryl, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you. So Cheryl, first of all, as I said, absolute pleasure to have you on the show. I can tell you're in a classroom. You're excited. The school's almost over. I totally get that. We're end of May going into June. So I totally hear you. So what's your story? What's your deal?
I am the development director here at the Gardere Community Christian School. And we're a little bit of a different animal. People are not really sure what category to put us in sometimes because we are a private Christian school, but we are located smack dab in the middle of a poverty-stricken neighborhood, very diverse neighborhood, and here in South Louisiana. So it's already a poor state to begin with. And so our clientele is 98% poverty and 97% minority. Yeah, and so we kind of flip the script on them, for so long the really the most elite in our society as Americans can afford to give their children a private school education, a private Christian education. And we said, you know what, that's just not right. These kids need it. Our local school district struggles and does not always serve the needs, especially of children who come from often very traumatic backgrounds. And so we wanted something better for them. And we're actually celebrating our 15th birthday this year. So it's 15 years as a school.
That's amazing. So you guys are a private school that is in an impoverished neighborhood, and the people who send their kids to you are not typically the type of people that are who would pay for private school, but they value the education. So how does it work? How do you guys have these kids in your school? I mean, you're the development director, so I mean that's your job. So
Yeah.
how does it work? How are you
Yeah.
funded?
Yeah. So, less than half of our children are on state scholarships. The state scholarships cover about half of the cost to actually educate that child. So we fundraise that difference through grants and through individual donors, through organizations. And then the other half of the students are not on any sort of state funding because the number of students across the state who have applied for state scholarships is like multiple times more than the number available. So we fundraise the vast majority of their tuition. All families pay a little bit of something. We have a sliding scale depending on how many people in the household, what their income level is, and over 90% of our parents pay less than 10% of their tuition. So we have parents that pay anywhere from about $30 a month. Actually, I think our lowest paying family or the lowest paying child is $8 a month. And
Wow.
all the way up to, because that's a family that has multiple children here, so every child is a bigger discount.
Oh
But
my gosh.
up to about 250 to 300 a month is probably our highest paying client.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
so how does it work? I mean, that's really amazing.
Very, very strategically. We are very careful. Our students do outperform the closest public options that they would have, where most of the children in this neighborhood go. The percentage of our students that score mastery in reading is twice as high, and in math, it's 3 times higher. We don't have the issues with fighting and violence on campus and disrespect. We just don't have that, and because we have just worked very, very hard to create this atmosphere of respect and just a positive atmosphere, a positive culture. And for schools, culture is huge. What kind of culture set. But as far as financially, we plan out our year. We sit down. Our fiscal year is July through June. So we are working on our budget right now for starting in July. And my executive director and I sit down and we go through month by month, and we look at years past, what it looks like, what those months look like, as well as make plans for the future. And we talk about what campaigns we're going to run at what time of the year. I really know my donors. I mean, that is a huge thing. Like if you say, if I meet someone, every now and then I'll run into someone, at a tailgate or at at an event, and they'll say their name and I'll say, "Oh my goodness, you give to us. Thank you so much. I've corresponded with you via email and via text and via all these things, but I've never met you in person. I'm so excited."
That's actually an awesome thing. And a lot of people can't say that they have that ability. I've worked with so many nonprofits over the years, and most people do not have that relationship with their donors. The fact that you meet them at an event and you're like, "Oh, hey, you give us money. Thank you so much. I appreciate you." I mean, that brings a whole nother level to the giving. And I feel like after you have those interactions, those experiences, their gift level goes up probably, no?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I'll tell you, our larger donors who have given larger amounts, I will often check in where you kind of get to know what each donor needs. Like we have one donor who gives so faithfully. He gives several $1,000s a month, every month, and he's got it set up. And we, I know that he wants to know what's happening here. That is his key is he wants to be in the know. So I'll call him every couple of months and say, "Hey, Richard, how's it going? Let me just tell you some of the things we did this month," and just kind of give him some updates. And that is the key to him. Every donor is different, but you kind of get to know which ones need what. There's some we check in with once or twice a year. There's a couple of our larger donors that we kind of pretend like they're grant, that it's a grant, and we give them an annual written report of.
I swear you should teach a class teach a class on resource development.
Well, it's important. It makes a big difference. It makes them feel like they're truly a part of what we're doing.
Well, that's the goal,
and they
right?
are. They're a huge part of what we're doing. We couldn't do it without them at all.
Right. Especially since everybody's heavily subsidized. And I think this is really amazing, how you guys run your organization, how tight you are, and the fact that the way you do development, the way you build relationships, because that's what it's all about, is building relationships. And especially when you're dealing with kids in schools and things like that, it's not just, giving money to something, it's building continuity, it's building, and especially, in a system that you guys have. Are you guys a K through 12 or what are you?
We are pre-K 3 through 5th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So where do they go after?
That's a great question. We get that one a lot. Because we really get to, well, let me back up just a little bit on that. Most of the families, or so many of the families that we serve, the parents themselves had very little school experience and or very negative school experiences. So we know when they walk through our door that they may not always be coming from the same place that someone who grew up in a middle or upper class home does. And so we really work hard to develop relationships with our parents. And we know our parents. Whenever we see them, we call them by name. And all of our families are required to volunteer 20 hours a year, 2 hours a month during the school year. here on campus, and that makes a huge difference. We have parents that tell us, I was never involved in my kids' schools before this, but
Mm,
I, because I felt intimidated, I didn't like being there. But they're like, we love being here. This is our second home, you know?
mm.
So it really makes a difference whenever you set those relationships. So back to your question, our fifth grade classes are pretty small. This year we had a fifth grade class of 11. Next year we'll
Wow.
have 20.
Oh, wow.
So that'll be our largest class yet. But we know our families, and we sit down in September and October, we sit down with every fifth grade family and with the parent, and we say, hey, middle school's coming. Let's talk about what you need. And, sometimes we look at the child's needs, what they need as far as academically. Do they need a special ed program? Do they need, we have a lot of families who do not speak English. Do they need a place where we know that they can find where they have translators on staff? Do they need transportation? That's a huge one. We don't offer transportation here. We are right in the middle of a 1.5 square mile neighborhood. So all of our families are pretty much in walking distance if they need to be. And many of them do walk. So that is, so we sit down with each of them and we say, okay, what do you want for your child? What are the needs of your child? And we also keep relationships with several schools that we feel very comfortable with. And when a new school comes, because the charter school movement is happening, so there are charter schools popping up here and there, and we'll visit them some, and we'll sometimes we even take the kids if a family says, well, I'm interested, I don't know, I think we want this school, but I'm not sure. They don't know what to look for. So either our principal or our counselor will often actually go and tour the school with them.
Oh, wow.
And help them ask the right questions and that sort of thing. But so we kind of have our set ones that we've gotten very comfortable with, that we feel like has a good environment for our children. We do have some pretty good public magnet schools here in the city. And for the past several years, 100% of our regular ed fifth graders have had the scores to get into these selective magnet schools.
Oh, that's really good.
So that's always a really good option.
Because that's like a safe net. That's like a good safety, like safety net there. It's kind of
absolutely. But the application process can be tricky. And so our admissions director will actually sit down with them on the computer and do the application with them to make sure that they've got everything that they need, that they understand, what they're doing. There's another private school here in town that just loves our kids, and they don't, every year they find 1 or 2 scholarships for our students.
Wow.
And so, it's one of the actually more elite private schools here in town. So it's very nice. So we have probably 7 kids there now at that school in middle or high school, and they're all like, I keep up with them. I check with their admissions director and everything, and they, they're honor roll kids. I mean, they're just rocking it. So
that's
amazing.
amazing.
And that's a selling point for us too. We can tell our donors, and as well as prospective parents, that our kids leave here academically ready for the highest level schools in the city.
That's amazing. So how do people come to you guys? Like, how do people, like, because it seems like, you get a lot of people, like, what's your application process? What's your screening process? What's your vetting process? Like, how do people, like, you can't take everybody, you wish, but
we can't take everybody, but we do not vet for academics. If we have a spot for your child and you're willing to pay what little bit your family will have to pay, and you're willing to do the volunteer time that is required, then we will find a spot for your child. I mean, if we have a spot, we'll bring them. Now, sometimes we do test them for placement. So sometimes we have to say, it would really do him some good if he repeated first grade, that sort of thing. But yeah, we don't vet as far as ability, religion, none of that stuff. We've had kids, from Muslim families. We've had kids from all kinds of different families here.
Oh, wow. So you guys just happen to be a Christian school, but like
Hmm.
you don't discriminate.
Right.
How does that work though? I'm just like curious.
Well, I mean, we're very upfront with our families. We let them know straight from the get-go we're a Christian school. If your child goes here, we'd love to have them, but if they go here, they're going to have chapel every day, and in the younger grades, the older grades are going to have Bible where they're actually digging in and reading scripture and learning how to annotate and pour through it. So it's up to them. If
Hmm.
if you're okay with that, that's what your kid's going to get here.
Nice. I think that also, I think the religion component really, I mean, I'm a religious fellow myself, if you can't tell.
Mhm.
And the religion component is a very grounding factor, I think, in a lot of
Mm,
the ways that help shape the students and shape the way,
absolutely.
the values that they bring when they come out of the school.
Mhm.
Versus, different types of places where religion is not like kind of like a backbone of the entire process.
Oh yeah, it's huge. It really makes a big difference because we while we do have chapel and we have Bible class, we weave our faith into everything, into all the subject matter. I mean, whenever a child is struggling in one area or another, we can stop and pray with them.
Hmm.
It's huge. It really, and as soon as you do that,
Right.
or if a parent comes in really upset and they're angry about something, and you can say, okay, let's go sit in my office and let's talk about it. And then you say, before we start, let's pray. Everything like just boom comes down a notch or two, you
Mm.
know, and it really makes a difference.
No, for sure. I mean, I can attest to that 100%.
Mhm.
So
One
it's
of the other, I will tell you, one of the other secrets to our success is that we try our best to address the whole child, and we bring the
mm,
family in on it as much as we can. So we do have a licensed professional counselor on staff that is available to children and their parents at all times.
that's
So,
amazing.
we can sometimes she'll do individual counseling. She does some group counseling sessions, especially with our older students, like as they're reaching the preteen years and discussing some of the things that they're going to be facing, especially in middle school. Some of the social situations they might run into, helping them as a group talk through and think through some of those things. But she sometimes even calls in families and does whole
Hmm.
family counseling. So that is another big reason, piece of our success.
Oh, that's amazing. So, you said that you keep track, you keep tabs and you keep up with a lot of the students and everything like that. So what is the success rate that these kids have like post your
Yeah,
elementary school and then middle school and high school and beyond? Like what is this, you've been
sure.
around for 15 years, so
That's
you've
right.
seen a lot of success rates come out of it. So like what's
Mhm.
the trajectory? What
Right.
happens?
Well, of the students that we've been able to keep up with, and we keep up with quite a few of them. It's shocking. We have quite a few that stop in at least once a year to say hello to us, but
That's
of
amazing.
the ones we've been able to keep up with so far, every one of them have at least graduated high school, 100%. And about 85% have enrolled in some sort of a higher learning institution.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's tech school, sometimes it's community college, sometimes it's a 4-year university. So we have several students in university now. We have one that's in finance. We have one that's in speech pathology. We have one that is in education.
Wow.
We have one that is getting their esthetician license. She's already passed the written form. And this was a child who, whenever she came to us, her grandma brought her to us desperate because the public system wanted to put her in special ed. She was in kindergarten. Public system wanted to put her in special ed, and this grandmother was like, "I know she's capable. I don't want her labeled." And she's getting her esthetician license right now. She's already passed the written portion. So
That's
yeah.
amazing. That's really amazing. And it shows that you just because you come the scenario and the situation that you're
Hmm.
in, your environment doesn't have to affect you long term.
Right. That's
It,
right. Well, I'll tell you one thing, and this is a fun one. We started something this past year, a program. We've always helped our children, like we've always taught them how to greet people and how to carry on a conversation.
Mm.
Like our lunch period is not silent lunch like most elementary schools. We have a full 30 minutes and it is, and we let them have conversations. It's very important. And teachers often sit and have conversations with them during their lunch.
Nice.
We have a group that we partner with, a nonprofit that we partner with to offer mentors to all of our children starting in second grade. So they spend an hour a week with a mentor, and it's always over lunch. So once a week they have lunch with their mentor. And so, but we teach them how to shake hands, how to look someone in the eye. We help them learn how to ask leading questions about that other person. And this past year, we started something called the Leadership Cup, which is a competition. And it's all about presentation, being able to present themselves, because we know our kids are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We want other people to see how amazing they are too. So, they had a handshake competition. For 30 seconds, they had to shake someone's hand and carry on a little quick, short conversation with them. We had a conversation competition where they had 60 seconds where they had to carry on a conversation and make sure to engage the person they were speaking to. They had to do a sales pitch. And they had to do, one of the competitions was a newscast. And what was the last one? Oh, a how-to demonstration. And we actually invited business leaders from around the city to come in and be the judges for the competition. So, I mean, some of them were leaving going, can I bring my kid and you can teach them how to do this, So, the kids themselves, whenever you work in a school, when you have the cutest kids in the city, it's like so easy to put those kids in front of people and let them see how great the kids are, But I will tell you, we do have some kids that I know left us who had learning issues, who struggled, who I know the reason why they're doing as well as they're doing in life right now is because they know how to handle themselves much
That's a huge
more
thing.
than they know how to do the academics.
That's a huge thing. That's such a huge thing. Well, this has been such a great conversation. I'm beyond impressed by what you guys are doing. I'm blown away by the things you guys are doing. So as we wrap up this conversation in this episode of Beyond the Bottom Line, what piece of advice would you give to somebody who is stepping into the role of development director or executive director or some sort of leadership role based on your experiences with this organization, this school, and just doing this in general and what you teach your kids?
Yeah. As a leader, I will tell you this. One of my first things is hire to your weaknesses. Like, know yourself, know your strengths, and know your weaknesses, and hire to your weaknesses. Because you're going to need someone who can pull the slack on the things that you're weaker at. So that's a leadership thing that is huge for me. Another thing is get the community involved, both the community you serve and the donor community. Get them hands-on involved. Get them face-to-face with our students. For example, our mentors, we have, 40 or so mentors. They are face-to-face with those children once a week. Wow. Pretty much all of them are donors as well. Wow. and they weren't whenever they started, but, and some of them are not big donors because they're not necessarily, all the wealthy donor elite, right. But they are, but they do give. Right. We have a lot of donors who give, $50 a month, $100 a month, that sort of thing. And that right. consistency to get everyone involved, both the people that you're serving, it is important to get them involved, getting our parents involved. We have 100% parent participation. And then also getting the donor community involved. I mean, it's huge. And involved in, like, whenever you're picking your board. Right. One of the big keys to choosing your board is you choose community leaders. You choose people who have connections. Right. Because that's a big part of their role.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, yeah. Cheryl, Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to put all of the information for the school on Cheryl's page. You guys can find it. We'll be sending that out once the episode's live. You can also watch this episode on our YouTube channel, Beyond the Bottom Line Show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And you'll also be able to watch this streaming on Bravehearts TV starting next month when we launch on Bravehearts TV. And thank you, Cheryl, so much for joining us again. I wish you tremendous success in everything you guys are doing. It seems like you guys are doing a great job of what you're doing. And I'm so happy to hear that there's an organization like this exists in the world, and you guys you're doing God's work. You're doing the Lord's work. So I appreciate you, and thank you for taking the time to join us on the show. And until the next episode, we'll talk to you guys later. We'll catch you later, and keep making the world a better place. Thank you so much for joining me on Beyond the Bottom Line. I'm Sean Littman, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Sean.